Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The Civil Service Council meeting discusses topics related to training plans and organization process for government units. The trade exchange volume between the Sultanate and Brunei Dar es Salaam reached more than $250 million. And the importance of voluntary work in the society is discussed at the symposium organized by the Ministry of Social Development. Those were the headlines, and now, live from the news center of the Sultanate of Oman television, here we present to you the details. The Board of Directors of the Civil Service Council held its fourth meeting to discuss a number of topics related to implementation of training plans and process of Omanization for government units under the civil service law. The meeting also reviewed topics related to organization of employment status for some employees, which are forwarded from various government bodies. The meeting was chaired by His Excellency Sayyid Khalid bin Hilal Al Busaidi, Minister of Diwan of the Royal Court, Chairman of the Civil Service Council. The Omani-Brunei Joint Energy Committee held its second meeting today in the Governorate of Muscat under the theme Enhancing Industrial Cooperation to Achieve Economic Growth and Development. The three-day meeting began with a welcoming speech by His Excellency Dr. Mohammed bin Hamad Al-Rumhi, Minister of Oil and Gas, head of the Omani side in the Omani-Brunei Joint Energy Committee, following by an opening speech to be delivered by Minister of Energy and Industry in Brunei Prime Minister's office. The first and third days of the meeting will include several work papers where the advisor of the Minister of Oil and Gas for Investment Affairs will patronize over a workshop on trade and partnership opportunities between Omani and Brunei sides. The second day will include a field visit for the Brunei side to Sohar Industrial Port. It's worth mentioning that the trade exchange and investment volume between the Sultanate and Brunei reached more than $250 million. The Sultanate, represented by the National Commission for Human Trafficking in collaboration with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime for GCC states, hosted from December 4th today and 5th tomorrow 2016, the meeting of the Arab experts to discuss the human trafficking phenomenon due to the existing conflicts. The meeting came within the Arab initiative to build a national capacity in the field of human trafficking in the Arab world. The initiative aimed at developing and enhancing the Arab system for combating human trafficking as per the relevant United Nations conventions and standards. The meeting focused on a number of themes, namely the global framework of the phenomenon human trafficking, the effect of the existing conflicts on migration and exodus in the Arab region, and the protection and support provided to human trafficking victims who are refugees. A program on developing skills of executive coordinators at the Diwan of the Royal Court was opened today in Muscat at the Competence Development Institute. As more as 450 participants took part in the 4-month program among the targeted categories at the Diwan of Royal Court in Muscat and Salalah. The program, which was organized in cooperation with the Arab Omani Institute for Administrative Training, aimed at developing personal, technical and linguistic skills of participants to carry out their works efficiently. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Later to come in our news bulletin, Learning Through Experience Forum is organized by students of master's degree program to develop educational performance. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The unupdated financial statements for the insurance sector in the Sultanate point out that the gross insurance premiums during the first 3 quarters of 2016 grew by 3.1% compared to the corresponding period in 2015. The gross insurance premiums grew by 10.6 million Omani Rials to hit 357.2 million Rials. The growth in the direct total insurance premiums during the first 3 quarters of 2016 reflected positively on the net earned premium. The data points out that the net collected premiums during the third quarter of 2016 grew by 4% compared to the same period in 2015. A symposium on the voluntary work was inaugurated today. It is being organized by the Ministry of Social Development in cooperation with the Arab Gulf Programme for Development AG Fund. The symposium aims to activate the voluntary work and raise awareness among all segments of the society on its importance. It also seeks to establish a sustainable partnership between the society, concerned public bodies and private sector establishments. The event also shed light on AG Fund's experience in promoting voluntary work. The inauguration ceremony of the symposium was presided over by His Highness Sayyid Kamil bin Fahad bin Mahmoud Al Saeed. The number of commercial registration at the Ministry of Commerce and Industry during the third quarter of 2016 amounted to 8,957 compared to 6,378 during the same period of 2015. The ministry explained that the number of commercial registration increased by 40.4% compared to the same period last year, noting that this rise is due to the simplification of procedures and facilities rendered by the ministry in cooperation with the concerned parties. The number of individual trader records reached 5,487, the highest among commercial registration, followed by limited liability companies with 1,407 records, partnership companies 913 records, limited partnership companies 584 records. The home-based business amounted to 420 records, investment companies 134 records, branches of international companies 7 records, closed joint stock companies 4 records, and 1 commercial representation office. The Ministry of Health represented in another hospital organized a training course on surgery related to breathing interruption cases as well as sleep apnea. The course included training sessions for such cases. Some consultants from inside and outside the Sultanate also presented lectures regarding the dangers of breathing interruption. The Traffic Safety Institute is considered one of the great sources to spread the message of traffic safety on the road. It includes a number of programs to train and qualified driving instructors and other vehicle drivers. One of the new additions to the Institute's programs was the driving simulation and theory test programs, through which the trainees engage in a virtual reality to learn the driving process. It's worth mentioning that the Traffic Safety Institute is keen to spread its message through various means of communications, including books, pamphlets, and others. Rejoicing the 46th Glorious National Day celebrations, a poetry night was organized in the Wilaya of Barca in the presence of a number of officials, sheikhs, dignitaries of the wilayas, and a huge gathering of citizens. During the event, a documentary film titled Oman Story was screened. The documentary narrated the achievements in the Sultanate on various areas. At the end, the chief guest honored the companies and individuals contributed in organizing the event, as well as the participating poets. Enhancing communication between the family and school and highlighting its impact on the success of educational process and performance were the most important aims of Educational Forum program at the Directorate General of Education in the South Sharqiya. The initiative aimed to bring together parents, teachers and school headmasters to strengthen the relations between the school and the house and discuss various aspects of educational process. They discussed challenges facing the educational process and reviewed statistical indicators for the students' performance in the governorate school during the past 5 years. A forum under the theme Learning Through Experience was organized by students of Master's Degree Program in Educational Management at the University of Nizwa. The event aimed to develop educational performance. It reviewed successful examples and practices in the field of educational management in the Sultanate. The forum was attended by a number of educationalists from 5 governorates of the Sultanate. Heavy fighting flared up in the eastern sector of Mosul today, with both sides exchanging heavy gunfire from rooftops in the Shaima neighborhoods. The Daesh group militants meanwhile shelled the districts with a heavy barrage of mortars. Scores of families braved the fighting, leaving their homes and fleeing the militant group held districts for the relative safety of the Shaima and Ittisar neighborhoods, both retaken by government troops or camps for the displaced at the safe distance outside the city. Mosul was captured by the Daesh group in June 2014. Fighting has been mostly focused in the part of the city east of the Tigris River, with the special forces deployed there progressing slowly due to strong resistance from the militants and fears over the safety of civilians. There are an estimated 1 million civilians are inside the city. The convoy carrying the ashes of former Cuban President Fidel Castro toured the streets of the eastern city of Santiago for the final time on Sunday. On its way to the cemetery, the convoy passed thousands of people waving Cuban flags in homage to the man who led the 1950s Cuban Revolution. In a private ceremony, Castro will be interred in the Santa Ifigenia cemetery next to the remains of the national hero Jose Marti. Sunday marked the final day of a 9-day mourning period following Castro's death on November 25th. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani demanded today that Barack Obama block an extension of sanctions passed by the U.S. Congress, saying Tehran would otherwise firmly respond. In a speech to Parliament, Rouhani denounced legislation passed by the U.S. Congress to extend the Iran Sanctions Act, ISA, for 10 years as a violation of Tehran's nuclear deal with 6 major powers. The deal curbs Tehran's nuclear program in return for the lifting of international financial sanctions. U.S. officials have said that the ISA renewal would not infringe the nuclear agreement. The U.S. lawmakers have also said that the ISA extension would make it easier for sanctions to be quickly reimposed if Iran contravened the nuclear deal. Indonesian rescuers today recovered body parts at the sea where a police plane with 13 people aboard is believed to have crashed yesterday. The Indonesian official said that the light aircraft lost contact on the way to the island of Batam, which is near Singapore, after taking off from an island off the southeast coast of Sumatra. All those aboard, including 5 crew and 8 passengers, are feared dead. According to the National Search and Rescue Agency chief, the M28 Skytrack plane is believed to have plunged into 24-meter deep waters. And now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate, with chances of low clouds and fog over the governorates of Al-Wusta, South Sharqiya and Al-Buremi. Winds will be northeasterly light to moderate. Seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Civil Service Council meeting discussed topics related to training plans and Omanization process for government units. The trade exchange volume between the Sultanate and Brunei Dar es Salaam reached more than $250 million. And the importance of voluntary work in the society is discussed at a symposium organized by the Minister of Social Development. With that, we come to an end of tonight's news bulletin, brought to you live from the news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. From the entire news team, led by Salim Al-Mauli and Mohammed Ali Ahmadi, editor-chief editor. Thank you for joining us.